illegal vote dumps and corrupt election officials and secret Democratic counting cabals and I don't know, maybe evening news time and pretend that he won and accuse everybody else of cheating. The guy does not have another gear. Get a new act.
Of this great and historic presidential election, if I win.
For electoral vote purposes, I forthwith, herefore, hitherto, and 2x4 call the last chocolate donut.
It was just another weeknight taping of The Late Show until Stephen Colbert looked into the camera and detonated a political grenade. No gimmicks, no buildup, just cold truth served live and unfiltered.
Is the President of the United States. That office means something, and that office should have some shred of decency.
The moment he exposed what he called Donald Trump's biggest lie yet, everything changed. Phones buzzed, clips went viral, and somewhere in Mar-a-Lago, Trump was watching.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. And he didn't take it well. According to close aides, the former president erupted in rage just minutes after the broadcast. He was pacing, shouting, and visibly rattled. What had set him off? A 9-minute segment where Colbert, with the surgical timing of a seasoned satirist, unraveled Trump's repeated claim that he won the 2020 election in a landslide.
Of this great and historic presidential election, if I win.
Colbert didn't just call it false, he dismantled it. Live on national TV, piece by piece, with receipts. It began with a flashback montage. Colbert showed Trump's old rally clips, voice trembling with certainty, fists clenched, crowds chanting. And then, the pivot.
Illegal vote dumps and corrupt election officials and secret Democratic counting cabals and I don't know,
Let's look at the numbers, shall we? He said. A screen lit up with verified electoral college results, court rulings, and sworn Republican testimonies confirming the election's legitimacy. Each one was a nail in the coffin of Trump's favorite fiction. But Colbert wasn't done. What kind of man loses by 7 million votes and still insists he won? Colbert asked, mock pondering.
in other states, and Republicans picked up seats in the House because of fraudulent elections. So cast them all out? Is that what your silence is saying?
A man who lies to the mirror so much he starts calling the reflection fake news. The crowd roared. The camera panned slightly, catching a crew member cracking up off stage. It was that kind of moment, raw, unscripted, and undeniable. But the part that truly broke through, the line that reportedly sent Trump into a tailspin, was when Colbert looked straight down the lens and said, "This isn't just about 2020 anymore. It's about what happens when one man's ego becomes a national crisis."
Throwing in the red herring of letting the Republicans keep the Senate and gain a few seats in the House while just barely removing Donald Trump? Wow.
This one lie has cost lives, fueled hate, and nearly broke democracy. And yet, he still can't say 5 simple words. I lost, fair and square.
There was a large number of secretly dumped ballots, as has been widely reported. You can't make something official just by using fancy-sounding words like hereby.
That's when the phones started ringing. Trump's inner circle scrambled. Communications teams fired off emails. His Truth Social account went into overdrive with a barrage of all-caps posts, calling Colbert a disgrace, a puppet, and bizarrely, an unfunny Jon Stewart knockoff. Sources say Trump's team even attempted to contact CBS executives directly, an effort that was ignored and later mocked. Back in New York, Colbert doubled down the next night. "It's funny," he said, barely hiding a grin. "He can call me anything he wants, but he still can't call the election what it was. Over." The live audience thundered in approval. The internet clipped the moment instantly. Memes spread, and Trump's anger turned to fury.
Some way presidential behavior, including this, unless every single person rejects what he just did.
Staffers at Mar-a-Lago reportedly heard him shout that Colbert was trying to ruin his legacy. One aide claimed Trump threw a stack of briefing papers across the room. "He's obsessed with Colbert now," the source said. "He thinks it was coordinated by the deep state comedy cabal."
Maybe evening news time and pretend that he won and accuse everybody else of cheating. The guy does not have another gear. Get a new act.
It would be hilarious if it weren't so disturbingly real. But the deeper sting came not from the jokes, but from the truth behind them. Colbert didn't just mock Trump, he exposed him. With humor, yes, but also with relentless facts. Court case after court case, GOP official after GOP official, all confirming what Colbert labeled the lie of the century. And in a nation fatigued by scandal and outrage, it hit like a thunderclap.
The president came out into the White House briefing room and lied for 15 minutes. Just nonsensical stuff.
There was no dramatic music, no emotional montage. Just a man in a suit behind a desk, speaking the words millions had waited to hear on a major network. And when he said them, something cracked. Not just in Trump's public armor, but possibly in the carefully guarded narrative that has shielded him since leaving office.
For him to cast a dark shadow on our most sacred right, from the briefing room in the White House, our house, not his. You only survived this up till now because a lot of voters didn't want to believe everything that was obvious to so many of us, that Donald Trump is a fascist.
Colbert ended the segment with a warning, not a punchline. "This isn't just politics," he said. "This is gaslighting on a national scale. And we can't laugh it off anymore, because while he clings to a delusion, the rest of us are trying to save what's left of the truth."
Uphill battle to close the gap. And the only thing more challenging than a steep uphill battle for Donald Trump would be a steep downhill waddle.
The studio fell silent for a moment. Then came applause, and far away, behind closed golden doors, Trump raged. It wasn't the first time a late-night host had taken shots at him, but this one hurt more, because Colbert didn't just land a joke, he pierced the myth. And for someone like Trump, whose power depends on belief, even from those who've stopped listening to the facts, that kind of exposure is dangerous.
For electoral vote purposes, I forthwith, herefore, hitherto, and 2x4 call the last chocolate donut.
By morning, the Backlash had taken over headlines. Pundits debated Colbert's approach. Trump loyalists screamed media witch hunt, but the numbers didn't lie. The video racked up millions of views overnight. And for the first time in a long while, it felt like someone had stood up on live TV and said what needed to be said, without flinching. Whether it leads to more truth, more division, or just more noise remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, Stephen Colbert struck a nerve. And Trump can't stop bleeding.